coming to you from eToro's offices in Tel Aviv. I'm Elliott Gotkine, and I'm pleased to say I'm joined by a special guest, none other than CEO and co-founder of eToro, Yoni Assia. Yoni, great to see you this evening, and great to see you put on a shirt. Thanks. So look, it's been a crazy year on the markets. I know Donald Trump likes to take a lot of credit for it, but crazy year on the markets, crazy year for eToro too.
Yes, we've had an amazing year. We've grown by hundreds of percentage this year worldwide. We're very excited to see both our CopyFunds product have been generating profits consistently the entire year for our clients. We've seen an amazing ride of our clients across both stocks and cryptocurrencies, which were a very exciting asset class this year, which we've been a long-term believer in. So it's a crazy good year.
Well, I'm going to come to some of those things in just a moment, the cryptocurrencies you mentioned. But in terms of eToro's growth, I mean, you were just telling me before, you've now got how many employees?
We are about 420 employees worldwide.
That's got to make you one of Israel's biggest startups by employees at the very least.
If you say so, I trust you.
Well, anyway, we'll move on now. Look, so as you mentioned CopyFunds. You said it's been consistently profitable for you. It was about a year ago, not exactly today, but about a year ago that you launched CopyFunds. So slightly different from copying the best traders or traders you want to copy. This is a way of copying in a different way. Tell me more about it.
So about a year ago, we started, well, a bit more than a year ago. A year ago, we launched CopyFunds, but I think about 18 months ago, we started working on a project to automatically pick the top traders in eToro based on artificial intelligence and sophisticated algorithms. So we have all of this data of all of our top traders from all over the world, and we started picking them. And the reason we started picking them originally was to help our customers choose the right traders. So we used a lot of our data, a lot of knowledge like quantitative analysis to help our users pick the right traders. And then we said, let's use all of the technology and research that we've done to create basically a virtual copy fund. So you can invest in Top Trader Copy Fund, and we will automatically pick for you the top traders based on our artificial intelligent algorithms.
So rather than just following one top trader, you're spreading your risk, if
exactly.
you like, by
you're spreading your risk. You're investing in the top traders on eToro based on our knowledge and analysis of all of the top traders' data. And we're very excited also to have seen amazing results. So the Active Traders Top Trader Copy Fund was launched a bit more of a year ago on the platform, but you can see in the past 12 months generated 18.76% returns on a relatively very low risk. So what we were trying to look is how can we make copy trading as interesting as an asset class, but actually less risky.
And which of these copy funds have proved the most popular, or I guess the most successful? It's probably the same question.
So when we originally launched them a year ago, we launched two, both the Active Traders and the Quarterly Gainers. And they have both been very successful throughout the year. They have both managed to generate double-digit returns. I think one is 19%, the other one's about 16%.
And one of your colleagues, he gave me some, not real money unfortunately, but just some virtual money to play around with this. I don't think I did particularly well, but you can also, I noticed, it's not just other traders. You can actually invest in investment funds, like funds managed by professional fund managers.
Sure. So we launched in February this year the Copy Fund for Partners. And the Copy Fund for Partners basically offers investment managers or traditional investment houses to actually set up their own copy fund on eToro. And then through the eToro platform, you actually have access to invest in other investment managers. Some of them are actually managed actively by robo-investors or investment houses. So this is a great example. This is by one of the top robo-advisors in Europe, in France actually. And what they have done here, if we'll go here to the portfolio, you can see that this actually as a more traditional robo-advisor. So what it does, it's investing in the top indices basically, in the top ETFs in the market. So you can actually invest in other investment managers as well.
But as you say, they're also active fund managers. I mean, for them, is it a case of, you know, if you can't beat them, join them in terms of coming on your platform, or is it just for marketing purposes, assuming, of course, that their funds perform well?
I think it's a bit of both. So we're seeing a lot of investment managers out there that understand that digital is coming. They want to understand how to promote their business and market their business online. And setting up a copy fund on eToro is just a very simple way for them to actually have their skill and knowledge online, where they can actually promote it both for others to copy them through eToro or to get their names out there.
And fund managers generally, do they see eToro as a foe, as a friend, as a frenemy? Do they take you seriously? Do they fear you? What is the general relationship between eToro and the industry?
I think we've seen everything of what you said. We've seen those who make fun of us, we've seen those who fear us, and we've seen those who partner with us and set up their own copy funds. We call them the smart ones, but we've seen all around. I think the more conservative and traditional ones still don't understand how can you do portfolio management in this new way, everything through the internet. They're used to meeting the clients face to face, a lot of discussions, a lot of paperwork, and suddenly we've automated everything. Instead of a $100,000 portfolio, you can invest and copy somebody with $200 or $500. So it's a paradigm shift for them. But I think the more we progress, we see more of them excited about the opportunity of working with us. One of the most interesting ones is the crypto fund. And the crypto fund actually enables people to invest in the top 6 cryptocurrencies in the world. It's just an example of how you can take an investment theme and make it super easy for people to follow a specific trend or theme. This is also super exciting because it generated 60% since we launched it in, I think, June or July. And we're now working on several copy funds. Actually, we launched one today. Maybe I can show it for the first time. Do cancer research. So this is something I've worked with together with a couple of is it live already?
Well, look, while we're looking for that, it's worth probably also just telling those who are watching this from their trading desks, from their home computers, whatever the case may be, from their smartphones, that we are happy to receive questions from them. So they want to send them through. Then once we've gone through some of the pre-planned questions, then we'll come to those questions and get through as many of them as we can. So this is is this the fund you were referring to?
Yes. So this is the CRISPR fund. Can you double click the stocks? So what we've done here, we actually looked at all of the companies, all of the public companies that actually have patents on CRISPR technology. So people are saying this is an extremely disruptive technology for DNA editing. So we can easily now, so like word processing was for word processing, basically, the word. So this makes DNA editing and implementing very easily. So we took the companies that simply wrote a lot of patents on it and created a portfolio out of it, which has generated 35.9% returns in the past 12 months since we've launched it. And it's very exciting because it's something a bit different than our core expertise, which is technologies and cryptocurrencies. And suddenly this is biology and biotech, and we've learned a lot about it and brought a couple of PhDs from the Weizmann Institute to help us understand basically this world, and created, I think, a very interesting copy fund.
Okay, now I know that people watching this are getting very excited when you just start mentioning cryptocurrencies. I know you're getting excited as well because you're coming off your line just a little bit, so I'm going to put you back there for now. But in terms of cryptocurrencies, I mean, Bloomberg described you in an article as being, I think, infatuated with cryptocurrencies. Was it love at first sight?
It was love at first sight. So obviously I've been in finance, I've been in trading and computers since I was 13. I love capital markets and I love technology. And when I've started eToro, I've learned that how much there should be a paradigm shift in the technology of financial services. And the first time I saw Bitcoin in 2010 and sent my couple of Bitcoins across the blockchain and saw how it worked, for me it was fascinating. It was like exactly the same feeling I had when I saw for the first time the internet in 94 or 95. This for me was an aha moment that this is a complete paradigm shift and that this technology is as big as the internet, maybe even as big as electricity.
Of course, not for the faint-hearted necessarily as an investment, but you've got, I think you said you've got 6 cryptocurrencies that investors
actually
can...
seven from Sunday.
Yesterday. Okay, is that Bitcoin Cash, right?
Yes.
You added? Okay, so we've got 7 cryptocurrencies, including Bitcoin Cash. They're no longer which you now can buy and trade on your platform. How do you decide which cryptocurrencies are bona fide and are worthy of being on the platform versus now all of these coins and tokens that are out there?
Sure. So first of all, on our platform, it's quite easy because we're taking a relatively technical view. So we want to add to eToro only the cryptocurrencies that we feel have the sufficient size and volume, so market cap and volume in the markets, to make sure that people have constant access, that we have liquidity for it, that you can have good prices and automatic execution. So that's why we've selected, so the top 7 cryptocurrencies right now on eToro represent something like 90% of the worldwide volume in cryptocurrencies, which have surged this year, and probably about 90% also of the market cap. So it's the majority of both market cap and volumes in the industry.
Now, eToro doesn't allow investors to take part in initial coin offerings, ICOs. Whether that's a good thing or a bad thing, well, this is the question. Whether that's a good thing or a bad thing is something that remains to be seen. Is that something that's going to change? Will people on your platform, when they know there's a big ICO coming, will they be able to get in straight away?
So it is definitely something we're looking at. I generally think ICOs is an interesting new type of asset class. I think you need to differentiate between the big cryptocurrencies and most of the ICOs, which are smaller in nature, they're smaller token economies. I think it's quite interesting because it enables people to take their ideas, just like instead of forming a company, you basically form a token company. And instead of raising money only locally, whether you're based in the UK or Israel or Singapore, suddenly everything becomes global. I think that's the most interesting part of an ICO. It's becoming global and tech-based rather than sort of government-issued shares, a register. So I think that's really the revolution here, is new type of companies. But again, very high risk. So if cryptocurrencies are not for the faint at heart, ICOs is one notch higher risk.
Have you been personally investing into ICOs? Is your infatuation extend to
my
ICOs?
infatuation does extend to ICOs. I've been investing in ICOs and looking at ICOs. At eToro, we were involved in a couple of ICOs. One of our spin-off companies, Kolu, where we developed colored coins originally together with the founder of Ethereum, is now going through a process of an ICO, doing $50 million. Another affiliated company, CoinDash, has done their ICO a while back and is developing products to track your cryptocurrency trading across multiple assets. So we're looking at things that are related and relevant to our business in this crypto world. And if it interests us, we'll look how to engage with them.
Do you think there's going to be a shakeout, certainly in the ICO space, leaving the established cryptocurrencies aside for a moment?
There's definitely going to be a shakeout. There's structural changes that are going to make a difference and a bit harder for ICOs. One of them is the potential proof of stake algorithm in Ethereum, which suddenly will enable Ethereum holders to sort of have interest rate. And I think that's going to shake up a bit the ICO market, because suddenly people will sell their tokens and get back into Ethereum. And we've also seen some projects looking to help people who want to short ICOs, which is very hard today. And once you have those kind of platforms to enable people to short ICOs, I think that's going to bring the market to some more to a reality check.
I don't know if you saw, it was a couple of weeks ago, there was an interview with Jamie Dimon, the CEO of JP Morgan, talking about Bitcoin. I think he was saying, you can't talk about like the value of something which has no value, and don't ask me about Bitcoin ever again kind of thing. It was almost quite comical. What did you make of his comments?
So first of all, I don't know if you've been following that story, but like a day after they found out JP Morgan was buying Bitcoin in the markets after Bitcoin crashed. So there might have been some interests. But I think generally I'm seeing a lot of high net individuals, a lot of very smart people. So Jamie Dimon obviously is extremely smart about the markets, and I've seen a lot of people that are extremely smart about traditional markets that simply don't get it. And you can understand why they don't get it. It's a complete paradigm shift. It's something different. It works differently. It's not the way they're used to think. But I think in general, it is something that people should learn about, should understand. This is an invention of something as big as electricity and the internet, but obviously it has its risks. So I'm sure, I know actually, JP has a team of hundreds of people working on blockchain technology of their own. Probably we'll see JP coin or City coin or something like that. And basically they're dissing off the competition, which again, from their point of view, makes sense.
And you mentioned just before Bitcoin Cash coming on. I mean, that's kind of partly contributed to this, let's call it a roller coaster ride. I think that's being polite. We've seen in Bitcoin over the last few days. You can now actually, you say we've got Bitcoin Cash on eToro. It's now also actually part of your cryptocurrency fund, right?
We haven't added it yet. We'll just do that in the next rebalancing. We're seeing something quite interesting. So there was supposed to be a fork. Fork is basically sort of how politics happen in the Bitcoin world. So Catalonia wanted to fork out of Spain. But in the crypto world, it's really about the different groups who are what Bitcoin is. So you have the miners, you have the developers, and you have the users and traders, etc. And what happened is some group wanted to increase the capacity and speed of Bitcoin and reduce the fees by basically making the blocks larger. And they were saying this is what Bitcoin is supposed to be. The other group said, no, this is what Bitcoin is supposed to be. This was the whole 2x, yes 2x, no 2x discussion over the internet. And when the fork was cancelled, suddenly the entire group of Bitcoin 2x said, okay, so we'll go with Bitcoin Cash instead. Which was, by the way, the fork that just happened a couple of months before. So Bitcoin 2x was supposed to be Bitcoin Cash 2.0, and when that failed, they all sort of moved back into Bitcoin Cash. And again, Bitcoin Cash versus Bitcoin. Bitcoin Cash has 8 megabyte blocks versus 1 megabyte blocks, so it makes it faster. Okay, so more transactions per block make it faster and cheaper. So transactions fees are much lower, and it's much faster. But it comes at the cost of centralization, which is why the miners are relatively supporting Bitcoin Cash versus the developers who are supporting Bitcoin. And centralization means you need to build a big farm of ASIC miners, which are computer chips that costs a lot of money to set up in order to mine those blocks, because the block sizes are big and because of 150 gigabyte blockchain. So instead of any developer can run suddenly Bitcoin, it becomes much more complex to run Bitcoins and therefore becomes more centralized. So there's sort of an argument. The Bitcoin Cash people say basically we are Bitcoin, right? They call themselves Bitcoin, but the rest of the industry still calls them Bitcoin Cash.
I think probably what a lot of people watching this will be asking is, which one's better? Should I put my money in old Bitcoin or Bitcoin Cash?
I think, again, that would be sort of... now I'm dealing with politics. I'm dealing with, the guys from Bitcoin Cash will see me. No, but generally, I think Bitcoin is here to stay. I think the entire fork, no fork, even strengthened Bitcoin as the idea of this is really decentralized and nobody controls it. I think Bitcoin Cash is interesting from another perspective. It brought in a lot of different people who are important in the industry, like Gavin Anderson, a big part of the miners. So a lot of people who are important to the Bitcoin community sort of shifted to Bitcoin Cash because it has those benefits. So I think it's interesting, but I would generally say if you're new to this, if you're not looking into really understanding and taking sides, a market cap weighted allocation is smart. So Bitcoin is still king with roughly 60% market cap, or 50 to 60, really depending what time of the day you look. And I would say if you look at a portfolio, you should hold Bitcoin should be your probably first choice, then Ethereum second choice, then maybe Bitcoin Cash now with a third choice, which is really how they're ranked in their market cap.
I'm going to ask you a mean question now, which I'm just springing on you. Do you obviously invest on the eToro platform as well? I'm sure. Do you know?
Can show them,
do you know where you come, kind of relative to some of the top traders who are on the platform?
Oh, that's a good. How do I do relatively to them? I'm not sure, but you can see here that I've done pretty well this year.
eToro, 270% this year.
So this is my eat your own dog food, and you can see I've done 270%.
And this is real money. This isn't virtual stuff that your colleague gave me.
This is very real money. Okay. Very much my real money. You can see that a lot of my allocation, too much by the way, so you don't need to really copy me, is on Bitcoin and Ethereum. And too much of my portfolio is right now in crypto. And the reason is it's simply because they've risen 200, 300% and even more this year. And I decided to keep that relatively large part in my portfolio. The rest is either tech stocks, which I understand, or myself copying people and investing in our copy funds. So you can see here, this is me investing in J Nemesis, who is probably ranked better than me as a top trader.
This is the guy I saw the interview on who doesn't know how to drive but ordered a Tesla or something, right? Is that the same guy?
He's investing in Tesla. That might be that guy. Actually, I've done better than him even.
Ah, very good. You talked about forks in terms of Bitcoin. In case you couldn't tell, I'm from the UK. Brexit is, as things stand, happening. How does that affect eToro? Because you're regulated in London as well as in Europe, Cyprus, or as the European Union.
For us, it doesn't have a significant impact. We have our offices in the UK in Canary Wharf, where we're regulated under the FCA, which that is passported into Europe. We're also regulated in Europe, which is passported into the UK. So we have both the entities in Europe and the UK. So whether it's going to be an extremely hard Brexit, which is going to break the regulatory commonalities between Europe and the UK, eToro clients can be safe and sure that we're there to handle all of their needs. I do hope it won't be as hard, and I do hope that it's going to be a softer Brexit, and they're going to keep some of the relationships between Europe and the UK intact. And
in terms of the future, we talked about getting other things on the platform that people can invest in, perhaps other cryptocurrencies. Is there some point in the future where we might see eToro being traded on eToro's platform? You're now so big, presumably that we might be...
That answer is wide enough for me to say absolutely yes. You are going to be able to trade eToro on the eToro platform one day. The only question is whether through a stock market or through the blockchain.
Well, we'll look forward to seeing that. And so we've talked about the year just gone. It's been a year of CopyFunds. What should people expect for the next 12 months?
Well, first of all, we've been expanding a lot of our copy funds to a lot of new areas. So like our core expertise at the beginning was investing in top traders and then creating those themed market funds. We're now expanding into more copy funds, both with partners and to new areas like biology, like more traditional industries in our copy funds, as well as expanding our cryptocurrency offering, which we believe is very exciting.
Okay, so I'm just going to see if we've actually got some other questions maybe that we want to ask Yoni. No, thinks that we've actually covered most things. So I think all that leaves me to do, Yoni, is to say thank you so much for joining me for this webinar, for this live broadcast from eToro's offices in Tel Aviv. That's about all. If you've got other questions, of course, feel free to continue to send them in, and someone at eToro will hopefully get back to you. Thanks for joining us.
And tell us if you like him. We'll bring him more.
Thanks.
Cheers.